The main customer for British arms is Saudi Arabia. The truth is, everyone knows that many Western democratic beliefs aren't compatible with the Saudi regime, and it's becoming harder and harder for politicians to defend our relationship with them, as this up-close and uncomfortable footage demonstrates.
Well, you were over there. The Secretary criticised the conduct of the Iranian elections and Iran's record on democracy. He did so standing next to Saudi officials. How do you characterise Saudi Arabia's commitment to democracy? And does the administration believe that democracy is a buffer or barrier against extremism?
I think what we'd say is that the one terrorism threat is coming from Iran. And that's coming from a part of the Iranian apparatus that is not at all responsive to its electorate.
So rarely do you actually see a human being buffering.
Yeah. It's quite interesting to me as well. He goes, eventually when he thinks of it, he goes, what we say is. So he's reaching for the doctrinal response. He knows that there is an answer to this, but he's looking in the logical half of his brain. Go, oh, why would we do that? Oh, yeah, what we say is.
I think that when we complain about our country dealing with Saudi Arabia, we don't even change our personal lifestyle based on the ethics of things. And we're so obsessed with the origins of things when the origin is nice, right? Like, so I bought this thing from Lush and it said, this soap was packaged by Tom, who lives in Surrey. It didn't have a little story like that on the shirt made by little Sanjay, and his hobbies are sewing, and crying about sewing.
But keeping us safe is so low on our government's list of priorities. So Blair, before the Iraq war, is told this will increase terrorism. He stands up in the House of Commons and goes, this will make us safer from terrorism. Cameron's told before he goes into Libya, this will increase terrorism. He stands up in the House of Commons and goes, this will keep us safe from terrorism. They're safe from terrorism. Like, Tony Blair's got armed guards outside his house, and he doesn't even live in a rough area. You know, I mean, who's going to assassinate him? You know, the guy that wrote fucking Love Actually. With the end of the world on the horizon, you may be wondering if people actually pay attention to all the scaremongering spread by the media and, well, me. Take a look at some paranoid citizens in these terrifying scenes from American TV show Doomsday Preppers.
Across the country, ordinary Americans from all walks of life are taking whatever measures necessary to prepare.
I'm preparing my family for the total destruction of the power grid.
The Yellowstone supervolcano.
A financial collapse.
And protect themselves.
When survival's the goal, it's into the spot.
Fast. Go.
From what they perceive as the fast approaching end of the world as we know it.
So I'm going to use these.
I like the way it said these people come from all walks of life. They seem to come from one walk of life, nutter.
Some of those things make sense, but massive plate of pasta made no sense.
Every generation has this fear of the end of the world. I think it's narcissistic, actually, to be like, it's gonna be us. This guy, it's not gonna be us.
That's the thing you said. That contradicts your proposition, because you're saying we're all about to disappear in a ball of nuclear light, and these preppers are hoping that they're not going to, and then those people are going to reproduce, and that's what the human race is going to be. That's more terrifying than your proposition. If we all die, brilliant. If those pricks are left behind, dear God help us all.
So, in conclusion, we humans are doing our shitty best to destroy the planet. We've flattened the rainforests, we've bleached the Great Barrier Reef, and we're about 3 rhinos away from killing the rhinos. But we do have one great ecological success story to our name. We have created super gonorrhea. We've backed ourselves a whole new strain of antibiotic-resistant living fuck juice. And for that, we should be proud. Together, we have created something that refuses to die. In a landscape of unremitting horror and destruction, we have fucked hope into a dying world. Super gonorrhea will be the one enduring legacy of human civilization. It will be our Sistine Chapel, our King Lear. But we can't be complacent. We must ensure our precious creation will survive the coming nuclear holocaust. It is our duty to transfer antibiotic-resistant gonorrhea to cockroaches. This is how we must spend our last days on Earth, having unprotected sex with cockroaches. Before the bombs start falling, we must fuck our cultural legacy into those hardy insectoid time capsules. Even now, I'm speaking to you with a live cockroach sellotaped to the tip of my cock. Because it's the right thing to do. This is the circle of life. Hakuna Matata. Next up, our lives are being ruined by technology. This is the idea that technology has consumed what happiness we once had. I was sitting in the park the other day reading my phone, and everybody else was sat there on their phones. And a guy came along, and do you know what he did? He stood around in the park just looking at the trees like a fucking serial killer. And this is before we get to the exploitation involved in most of our technology. White adults get to live in a permanent childhood because black children have to live as adults. Technology could be a good thing, but it exists within the constructs of capitalism. You know, YouTube could be good, but it's ruined by adverts. What is there about me spending 5 hours watching pensioners falling over that suggests that I'm in the market for a brand new Lexus? Guys, are you worried by technology?
I just couldn't disagree with you more. I think that our lives have been enhanced by technology, and if you want proof of that, go try taking a shit without your phone.
You can sit in the toilet and receive death threats, and
that's part of the joy of life.
It's great because for like every death threat you get, you also get like some long distance flirt from someone you're never going to meet, and you're just like, great. It kind of balances out. It's like a lovely little like game of like, you want to kill me, you want to fuck me, you want to do both. This is great. It's exciting.
I love technology. It has enhanced my life in every way. I'm very lazy. Sometimes I ignore my own child just to look at photos of my child.
Now, the advance in robotics raises many questions, such as the threat to jobs and the dangers of artificial intelligence. But, as always, the only thing people want to know is, can we fuck them? Something Kirsty Wark has investigated in this chilling and uncomfortable Newsnight discussion.
Is it acceptable to use so-called sex bots to redirect dark behaviour from humans to robots, or will they have a reinforcing effect? These dolls are coming, and what would you say that actually they can be programmed and actually to make verbal responses?
Well, we have to make a decision about whether we use that for good or bad, don't we? Like we always do with technology. So there's something to be said for allowing these dolls to work with people that have committed rape in order to kind of rehabilitate them.
But it could be an accelerator, couldn't it? It could be the idea that once they have done this many times with a supposed inanimate object and had absolutely no pushback from it or no censure, that actually they may go out and actually rape humans.
Did she just say absolutely no pushback from a rape doll?
Those seem to be questions that had only ever occurred to Kirsty Wark. I think it's almost definite that people will fuck robots. There might be an intermediary stage where it's just poor people wrapped in Bako foil. But, I mean, men are definitely going to fuck robots. Bill Cosby won't even bother charging his up.
There's always been this debate, will robots take over humans? Will they take our jobs and replace us? I think humans are more turning robotic because we're always on our phones. A lot of things are done for us. We have sex less. I'm essentially a robot now.
Like, how does the morality work? Because at some point, like when robots evolve, because they're evolving to be human-like, then we're just slave owners for robots taking all
but
the
I think the thing that you're forgetting is they're fucking robots.
Yeah.
As machines take on more human attributes, they become a threat to jobs, especially manual labour. Here's observational footage of a robot's robustness being assessed with cutting-edge scientific techniques. was going out the door at the end, I thought he was off to kill that guy's family.
Totally.
Basically a £10 million robot that earns minimum wage. You know that robot's final destination is to wear a crown of guns as he runs through some village playing Donald Trump's tweets through a tannoy on his face.
Picking up children who are 10 pounds or less.
You survive. Anyway, drones are becoming part of our daily lives as their abilities to perform multiple tasks grows. Here's shaky outdoor footage of just what they're capable of. Good luck fucking that. The advance in technology also raises questions about human life itself, and if we're in fact real or part of a complex computer simulation. Billionaire founder of Tesla and real-life Bond villain Elon Musk has suggested that we aren't real and we're in fact living in a computer simulation. Here's Elon's ex-wife, Tallulah Riley, discussing this complex topic with Tim Lovejoy on Sunday Brunch.
Basically, I think if you look at the way, say, video games have developed from when I was playing them as a kid, when it was like little blocks pinging around a screen, to now where you have sort of photorealistic multiplayer online games that everyone can contribute. The direction we're moving in, you know, with VR and everything that's advancing right now, soon you're not going to be able to tell reality from non-reality.
Right.
And so once that hits, basically the likelihood that we already exist in a simulation becomes statistically much more likely, because like the odds of us being in base reality once that's possible is like really slim.
Tim?
It makes you think like, hey, if I want to level up in the game, maybe I should do something really outrageous and be really entertaining.
Oh, wow.
To our simulator overlords.
Okay. So we're like what? What should we be doing to get ourselves further in the
No
game?
idea.
No idea.
No idea.
Speaking of which, you've no idea what I've been doing for the last 5 minutes. So basically, what happened with the gnocchi?
Was the idea is alien over? Is it alien?
It's not so much. It's more like there's a base reality which would have developed simulations to a point where they could create a simulated universe, and from that point, those simulations would create simulations. So there would be billions of simulated universes. So then, if you accept that, the chances of us being the base reality are billions to 1.
Oh, I see.
So imagine like human beings designed a computer game called Sims, where people live kind of like human-like lives, and if in Sims they started designing a game which was little people who looked like Sims were just behaving, right, and then that game started doing another game inside it where people who looked like them were just living lives like theirs.
And then would those people then do another? I think I'm getting it.
Well, the screwed up thing about this is that all of these scientists who forever have been browbeating all of these sort of, you know, fundamentalists are basically like, oh yeah, actually intelligent design. There is something up there that made all of this happen. And you're like, wait a second, we've been yelling at these, you know, cavemen who are like, oh, evolution doesn't exist and somebody made it, you know, for years. And then it was like, oh no, actually, somebody made it. It's just not a dude with a beard.
I think the danger when people start going, it's not real, is when someone who is already mentally unsound goes, oh, I see, I don't have to obey morality. Someone thinks this is exciting.
Or someone starts just living as if they're in Grand Theft Auto because they've watched Sunday Brunch. Try and explain how they're holding up a police station. Did you not watch Sunday Brunch? Well, that's all we've got time for. That's the end of the series. We might all be dead in a week. Thanks to my guests, Sarah Pascoe, Catherine Ryan, Romesh Ranganathan and Desiree Bosch. But before I go, I'd like to leave you with this thought. The Russian hacking scandal continues to dominate the news, so let's have a think about Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is a very clever man. In fact, Vladimir Putin is so clever, I think the guy we see on TV, I don't think that's Vladimir Putin. That's the front guy, the guy put there to take the assassination attempts. Why would Putin, if he's so clever, be there himself? I think Vladimir Putin is a very old cobbler in St. Petersburg. And once a week, the Russians go down there and ask him what they should do. And he always insists on finishing the shoe that he's working on. invade Turkey. That's always kind of an awkward moment for me, because if no one laughs at the first shoe, I have to start making a second shoe. But the second shoe is a real moment of crisis, because if no one laughs there, why would they make a third shoe? I'd have to pretend that he's kind of messed up one of the shoes and had to start again. And that's beyond my abilities as a mime artist. Anyway, hold that idea. Maybe out in Siberia somewhere there's a lumberjack living in the middle of nowhere with a big white wolf. And that wolf is Vladimir Putin. Or, what's the photo you always see of Vladimir Putin? He's naked from the waist up and riding a horse. Perhaps Vladimir Putin is trying to prepare us for the fact that he is a centaur. One day you'll switch on the news and there'll be Vladimir Putin galloping into the United Nations and taking a 2-minute long piss. He taps out a message with his hoof until someone informs him that he has a mouth and can speak. Vladimir Putin says that he doesn't care and that this is also what the hoof message will say when they translate it. Vladimir Putin will ride himself to victory in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And one day his advisor will say, Vladimir, you're not a centaur, you're an old cobbler who is losing his mind and happens to run the world. And the old cobbler doesn't answer because he is flirting with a woman's torso that he has stitched onto a dead horse. Of course, the old man doesn't have the strength to stitch a dead woman onto a horse or the faculties to know any different. So what he's actually flirting with is a porn mag that his advisor has tied onto a Labrador. And the advisor leaves to go back to Moscow and do what he does every week, to try to make sense of the orders he has received, unaware that he is, and has always been, Vladimir Putin. Good night.